The Renaissance, literally translated as the rebirth, began in Florence, Italy in the early 14th century. And it was formated by the polymaths, most well known Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci. And over the course of the ensuing 300 years, it represented a remarkable intellectual and creative and artistic transformation that spread across the rest of Europe. And today, one of the highest compliments that anyone can pay to you is to call you a Renaissance man or a Renaissance woman. I believe we are at the forefront of an entrepreneurial renaissance. And the entrepreneurial renaissance, I think, is going to have an equally, if not more, profound impact in terms of both intellectual but also creative transformation. It's going to bring the two together in ways that we never thought possible before. So from the very beginning of time, man has searched for meaning and for purpose. It's the longing in all of our lives. And we've heard from so many articulate speakers throughout the day that have addressed that from a variety of different vantage points. One of the challenges is we've had to pay the mortgage, pay tuition, put food on our table, and that has often led us to make significant compromises in our lives. Those of us who want to live in idyllic communities, whether it be here in Nova Scotia or in other places around the world that are not necessarily large financial or business centers, sometimes we've actually had to leave our home, our community, our roots, in order to be able to fill our professional and our economic ambitions. And my message to you right now is that you can stop beginning to think about having to make those difficult trade-offs. That the ability to take the work out of work, to bring your authenticity and your passion to your work is within your grasp, within everyone's grasp. I really do believe that we have begun to enter into a long secular period, which is the golden age of entrepreneurship. And it's no longer that business is business. It's now that passion is business. It was only when I was willing to connect with my own passion, with my own core sense of values, that I decided to leave the comfortable and well-paid world of corporate strategy and take a shot at being a technology entrepreneur. And so it caused me to leave my community in New York and to move to Boston. But we also read and hear more and more about all the young entrepreneurs, male and female, increasingly from outside of North America, that are building remarkable mobile applications and Web 3.0 applications, many of which I assume you are using in your daily lives. For those who are truly turbocharged and looking to build significant companies, we have a remarkable phenomena that has swept the globe over the last 48 months called mentor capital, where we put people in incubators typically for roughly 90 days, and we surround them with coaches and mentors who really help them take their businesses to a completely different level than they could have got to on their own. The velocity in which some of these businesses are being built is truly stunning, like nothing I could have ever anticipated. Okay, let's very quickly now share examples of a few of the entrepreneurs I've had the privilege to work with here locally, and then we'll take it to the next level. The first entrepreneur, Chad Monroe, and he's actually outside of Sydney in actually Mabu. Chad is a biomedical engineer, and his life's work has been to create a truly profound improvement in the way that stereography is done in orthopedic implants. And so he has spent the last 20 years of his life bringing this medical technology to the world, but because of his tremendous passion for his home community, he's chosen to do it from Sydney. And he's today by far the most advanced in his field. He's got the Mayo Clinic, DuPage Hospital, and a lot of the leading research hospitals in Canada, the United States, and Europe as his early customers. This will be a very relevant global company. From a very different perspective, a couple of men that went to school together, were musicians together, Morgan Curry playing the fiddle, Darren wailing away both on the bongos as well as the laptop. But they are affected like everyone else in the world of music today by what's happened with iTunes and Napster. And so they also recognize the importance of being able to bring solutions to bear that solve the problems of musicians and music managers like themselves. So they have created a software platform that makes it far easier for music festivals as well as for musical managers to do the scheduling and logistics and marketing, which every musician now needs to do to have a musical career, as more and more of these record companies basically begin to lose their ability to promote their own artists. And finally, out of Newfoundland, a province where until recently roughly half of all university students left the province in search of economic opportunity elsewhere, this is an example of a mid-career entrepreneur, Craig Rowe, who came out of 20 years in the risk insurance industry and decided that he wanted to solve a problem that he felt needed to be solved, which is to make it far easier to make it accessible for risk insurance managers to be able to access and provide service to their own end clients and their own businesses. And so, working with the conditions that were set around him, he's done a remarkable job of tapping into the Memorial University student body and the recent graduates. And the average age in his company is about 23 years old, but he's taking full advantage of all of the latest information technology, social media, digital marketing, and he has become the leader in his space across the world. All three of these companies have raised capital within the last 6 to 12 months. And finally, women in entrepreneurship. I want to make sure that women understand that I'm seeing across the globe a remarkable increase in the number of women taking on the role of founder and CEO. Heather Keith from Stroll Medical, EKG for stroke. Travania Henderson from CaringWise, trying to bring a much better level of workflow and management to caregivers for people that have family members at home that are trying to coordinate care. And a young woman, Diane Melville, who, because her own parents couldn't afford to send her to college, and she wound up going through a process of about 700 different scholarship applications, she said, "This is completely crazy." And she streamlined that process through a very simple cloud-based software solution so that others wouldn't have to suffer through the pain that she did. And so, what are some of the things that you can do to live your passion and to take the work out of work? One is, be clear about what it is that you're passionate about. Be clear about what your core values are. Put that out into the community and attract like-minded and like-spirited business partners. 2, be sure that you have the ability to now think to the next step. Translate that passion and that set of values into a business idea. Okay? 3, when you're working from a somewhat remote community, you absolutely have to be the best at what you do, bar none. And it's an easy thing to say. It takes a remarkable commitment to actually do that. And that's one of the things that all of these entrepreneurs have in common. You have to differentiate. It's the only way that you're going to be able to have a sustainable long-term business is to be unique and deliver compelling value. Some of you may have heard of the phrase lean startup. Lean startup is a phenomenon that began in Silicon Valley probably about 5 years ago, and it's a perfect set of operating principles for the economic times we live in. Translated very simply, it's around limited investment as you begin to iterate until you get to an idea that has been validated in your market. Don't feel afraid to validate the idea. You cannot speculate, you have to validate. It's inevitable today that you have to get comfortable with technology. Steve Jobs has done so much to make technology accessible to all of us. It is simpler and more automated. We are no longer slaves to technology. We're getting information pushed to us. It's making our lives a whole lot simpler. And many of the companies I spoke of are being far bigger because of the use of very either inexpensive or free technologies. Team with visionary, like-minded partners and customers. These are really the kinds of people that will be your advocates in the world around you and help you develop a level of scale and credibility that would not be possible without them. And of course, the co-creation process is truly magical when you work with these types of people. We're all self-publishers today. And it's no longer about selling, it's about helping your customers solve problems. You've got to feel comfortable creating compelling, informative content that you can share with your prospective customers and the community around you, right? So mobilize your community. And everything I've spoke of allows you to do that, okay? The bodily reaction to fear is the same as to excitement. So harness your fear. You're going to have the time of your life. Engage great mentors and coaches, as King George did, okay? It's remarkable what they can do. And seek your own sustenance, as Mandela did in the 30 years he spent on hard labor, where he read from the poem Invictus every day. I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. So in closing, only those of you who will risk going too far can possibly find out what you can do. I hope this was an idea that was worth sharing. Thank you.